So Nikola Jokic has to be better for the Denver Nuggets, even if the Nuggets are the third seed, have a good record, and are one of the best defensive teams in the league. It's definitely intriguing to see, to think of how good they can be once Jokic gets it all together. And I don't know with him if it's physical or something going on behind the scenes we don't really know about. I mean, the guy did play in the summer, and he went to the second round of the playoffs, Game 7, so I mean, he did play a lot of basketball this offseason. There's a chance he's just a little tired right now. But, with Jokic, his numbers are down pretty much across the board. Percentages, he's shooting more jumpers, shooting less free throws. His assists are down, but, I mean, obviously this guy still has a lot of value. I mean, Nikola Jokic at 80% is still a very good player, but, for this team to really be contenders, Nikola Jokic has to be one of the best players in the league, and after last season, I think everybody was putting him top 10, which was fair, and this year he has definitely not been a top 10 player. You could make a case a number of guys who are kind of on the bubble have been better than him, and I think, I talk about the stats a little bit. He's been very quick to go to jump shots this season. If I can do a little bit of math on Basketball Reference real quick, I think last season about 36% of his shots were jumpers, and this year it's about 50%. And it's very telling. I mean, you can just see that there are times when he just kind of gets dejected with a play and he just hoists up a three or a mid-ranger or something. And maybe his head is just not all the way in basketball right now. Maybe he's just, like I said before, he may just simply be too tired. And of course, his weight is not helping that. He is fouling more, and I think some of them have been frustration fouls where it's like he sees his substitution coming into the game, or, he didn't get a rebound, or just some play did not go his way and he just swipes at the guy who just grabbed it real quick. That has been something with Jokic. His emotions have sometimes gotten the better of him, and I think he was able to control it enough. And I don't think he's going off the rails just yet, but he might be getting close. Now, because this team has still been so good, it's not as big of an issue, and if anything, it could be a little reassuring if you want to be positive to say that this team has still been 13-5 with Jokic struggling. But even with all of that being said, we know how this works. You're going to need your best player playing at his absolute best if you want to go on a real title run. And I think that's what we were looking at with this team. I mean, look, Jokic is 24, and he just had his best season after his fourth year. You would think that this would be the season that he could potentially get into MVP conversations. I mean, I don't think anybody was really predicting that before the year, but I mean, if Pascal Siakam can jump to 5th in MVP votes, which I think is fair, why the hell can't Nikola Jokic do that? And another thing was, we had a quote recently from Jokic, as in yesterday, where he basically said, I'm just going to read it exactly what it is. This is Jokic. Right now I'm struggling, so coach, he's a smart guy. He's not going to give the ball to the guy who's not making shots. I'm cool with it. I'm good. That is a weird statement from the best player on the Denver Nuggets, okay? Now, in one sense, we know Jokic is unselfish. We know that they've had to egg him on a little bit to shoot, and he did in the playoffs. I think he averaged 27 and 10 and 10 or something against the Blazers in that round 2 series. But at the same time, is it a little concerning that he is so okay with not getting the ball in big situations? And I may be reading too much into it with this one, but is it possible that he's a little too comfortable with how blah he's been playing? It is a little weird, if you ask me. Now, is there also a chance Jokic is just having some confidence problems? I don't know. I mean, I feel like when Jokic is at his best, it's when he feels like he's the best player on the floor. And that's when you really see him busting out every kind of pass imaginable. And it happened basically all of last season. And again, his assist numbers are really not that far off from last year. They were 7 assists a game last season, 6 this year. It's still a crazy amount for a big. But I don't think he's playing with as much of that flair of, I know I'm the best player on the floor right now. And as far as projecting forward, I mean, weight has been a problem with him even when he was one of the best players in the league. So, I don't know. I mean, that could also lead to some injury troubles down the road. You know, back problems and whatever the hell else. And while this team is very good defensively, it is still concerning to rely on a guy who is simply not in shape to be a real defensive player for you. Now, even so, once they made him step up on screens a little bit more, he definitely showed more on defense. So, you know, I mean, given how good Jokic was, I'm not pressing the panic button just yet. But I'm definitely pressing the what the hell is going on right now with you button. Which could probably not fit on a button, but you get it. As far as ways that the Nuggets can get Jokic going a little bit more, well, there's a chance that you don't agree with Mike Malone deciding to not give the ball to Jokic, even if Jokic was okay with it. But besides that, I don't totally know. I mean, his touches are basically in line with where they were last season. He's getting about 93 touches a game, and it's about neck and neck with his, top 10 player season of a year ago. Looking at other random things, he's getting about the same amount of screen assists per game as last year. He's posting up a little less, which I think might just come down to his unwillingness to really do it, more so than a game plan thing. I looked at post-ups, I looked at roll possessions, like where he rolls off of a screen. I looked at possessions where he's the ball handler. I even looked at Jamal Murray screen and rolls, because that's a thing that they do sometimes, where Murray sets the screen for him. And I mean, it's all basically where it was last season. I don't know how much of this is really on the coaching staff, the play calling, and how much of it is that Jokic just simply needs to be better. I mean, look, he was a top 10 player last season, okay? And he could still end up being that by the time this year ends. But when you're that good and everybody on this team is expected to get better after you nearly made the Western Conference Finals, it's on you, dude, okay? It's not anybody else's fault that you came into the season out of shape. And maybe you got something going on off the court and okay. But he just simply has to be better. He has to be more aggressive. He has to lose some weight. And he has to stop this passive-aggressive, pouting, not super interested in the game for every single second that he's out there thing that is going on with him right now. And if he doesn't do that, the Denver Nuggets are going to be a disappointment this season, regardless of how good they are in defense, regardless of what their record ends up being. If Jokic is this guy the whole year, then these guys are going to flame out in either round 1 or round 2, and that's it. So it's on him. Dude just simply has to be better.